Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is MJ from Exercise Philosophy, just showing you guys a leg routine that I went through today during my 45-minute lunch block. This is my first block of training for the day. I also have another block of training that I do in the later afternoon. So starting off here, I did some Smith machine back squats, utilizing an 80% range of motion for most of the reps. And then as I got fatigued, I went into partials. That's long partials and short partials. And this was a high volume, high rep leg workout. So here with the back squats, then you can see I kind of pause for a second and go into my long partials, just working the bottom of that movement towards parallel. I take another break here for a second, and then I go into the short partials. And that's really to keep that tension on the muscle and really cause that stimulation to grow those quads, those glutes, even a little bit of those hamstrings. All right. I didn't record my first set. That was a longer set, a warm-up set. So 3 working sets, you could say. Here again, this time loading up the bar a little bit heavier. I think the first set was like 175. This is like 200. And just using that 80% and then turning it into partials once I get into it. Notice how I'm keeping tension on that muscle. Right there, I even went ass to grass 2 times before I worked in those short partials at the top. And that really right there is just what fatigued my quads. Like, I just felt that in my quads. And that's why I use partials on my squats. A lot of people don't use partials on their squats. I think full range of motion is king. Where I agree mostly, I think that partials have their place as well. And here I loaded up the bar to 225, lowered the reps, kept that tension, and then got in some partials. I always try to hit at least parallel. It's really as far as I need to go. Don't really focus too much on my foot posture there. I kind of kicked up. I didn't like where I was. I just continued that range of motion. Started working the long partials. And I couldn't even get in the short partials at that point. My legs were just exploding. All right. Then I went into the front Smith machine. Why do I use the Smith machine? Well, the layer that I'm working out right now only has the Smith machines. No need for the barbell at this point in time. That's fine. You can do as much work as you can with the Smith machine that you can with the barbell. It doesn't really freaking matter, guys, to be honest. Unless you're a freaking weightlifter or a power lifter or something. Right? For bodybuilders, you can create the same response. Here, you can see that I'm going lightweight. I think that was like 125 on the bar, high reps, using partials. Didn't record that first set as well here, I don't believe. I may have got all 4 sets for the front squat. Let's see. Loaded up a little bit heavier, decided to use more of a cross-armed. I don't like to use the cross-arm, technique on the Smith machine because I just don't like it if it rocks too much. But if it's a lighter weight, I can kind of handle it, just loading it on the front of my shoulders, keeping that grip on it, the X grip, and just repping them out. You see my range of motion. With my front squats, I'm going all the way down and working partials, doing a little bit of rest pausing. I'm trying not to do that, but that fatigue will set in and kind of force me to do that sometimes. All right. Then I went into a very heavy set. I don't know what that was there. I went into a heavy set for the front squats. I believe I did 225 on the Smith machine for the front squat for my last set. I think this is my last set. And I kind of went ass to grass with 225 and was like, ooh, hell no. Racked it up and then just started dropping weight. I could definitely put that up and I could definitely train my strength, but I'm not super into training for strength right now, more so training for hypertrophy. moving a heavy weight, but you know, not super heavy, not super crazy. All right, dropped the weight a little bit here, went back down to like 200 or something, got in a couple more reps using that Olympic style grip on the Smith machine. Notice as well that when I started doing the front squats, I turned around on that Smith machine again. That's just because the bar and the twisting. All right, showing off a little bit of that quad pump here before I move over and drop some more weight. Felt like I needed a couple more reps off of that one. All right. Went over here, did the same thing. Need a little bit more reps off of this guy, so just dropped the weight again. This time I came back down to that 125, just the bar and 245s. The bar on the Smith machine here is 35 pounds. I don't give a shit if it's 125. I'm still moving this goddamn weight and it's still putting blood in my muscle. And notice how I'm doing some partials here. Boom. Just at the bottom of the motion, keeping that tension on the muscle. All right, then I moved over to doing some leg press. Leg press. I didn't record that first set. So 3 working sets again, high reps, using full range of motion into partials. All right, really causing metabolic stress to the legs to cause them to adapt. All right, so you can see full range of motion here. Pretty decently heavy weight. I think I was like half the stack. Level 7. I don't know how much poundage that is, but I was moving some weight here. Went into my long partials. That bottom of that movement as that pad is in on me, the platform, and then boom, going into the short part. My legs were freaking blasting right here. My freaking legs were on fire. When I start going into those short range partials, man, my legs are hurting bad. Then I actually worked in a couple more full ranges of motion to top out at 25 reps here, I think. All right. Same thing for these next few sets coming up. Just try to load up the camera right here from the side just to get some leg action in. Terrible lighting in this gym, I apologize, but boom, here we are. Repping it out. This time I went lower on the weight, focusing on that squeeze, focusing on that tension, that range of motion. Repping it out. See that? Partials. Using partials a lot in my leg routines. My overall routines going forward, I'm using a lot of long partials and a lot of short partials. You can just doing those short partials right there. Legs were freaking getting beefed up, getting full of blood and nutrients. And yeah, just burning right here, man. My legs were freaking burning. You know, again, including those partials and start to burn out. All right. So moving on to the legs, the lower legs, the calves. Doing some seated calf raises. That's all I did. I did 4 sets of seated calves. Okay, didn't record the first set. Recorded the 3 working sets. But here you can see at this point I was moving 2 plates. I was moving a pretty heavy weight right here. And I did some full range of motion as well as some partials. Then I decided to drop that weight and incorporate a drop set. I don't drop set every set. As I get into a building phase, I'll do that. But right now, I'm just trying to maintain and I'm just trying to increase the level of muscle maturity with what I have. All right. Then I started working in those partials right here, at the top of the movement and at the bottom of the movement. And that shit earned the soleus and the gastroc of my calves like no other. These are partials. These are real partials. You need to include partials in your bodybuilding routines, guys. You need to get the most out of every set. Some people don't like it. Just give it a try. Mix it up. Change things up. Let your body get shocked by something. Just be careful not to injure yourself using partials. A lot of people can do that. They'll snap some shit up. So not snap anything up. Let's move through that exercise, and then at the very end of that, once we feel fatigue, work in some partials. Okay? strategically, mentally, focused with using partials. We're not using them sloppily. Okay? We had maybe 1 to 2 reps in reserves on the full range of motion. Then we stopped for a second, started doing partials. Look at that. Freaking burning. Okay? Burning. That's metabolic fatigue. That's metabolic stress. Look at that soleus, how it's pumped up with blood. Alright, going into another set here. I'm just about finishing up. I'll do a finisher here in a second. And like I said, this is my first block of leg day. Okay? Because of time constraints and such, I'll get in, you know, maybe 2 to 3 blocks of training. In the morning, I do my conditioning, then I do my lunch workout, which is my heavy workout, and then when I'm back at home, I'll do another, you know, pump session, or I'll just do like 10 sets of 10 for something to get those reps in. All right, whatever it fucking takes, god damn it. R.I.P. Rich Piana, you know what that is. I was burning. I was doing a drop set here, I believe, as well. Yes. Oh no, never mind. That's me cleaning off the equipment. Yep, I clean my equipment. There you go, guys. Oh, gosh. I love it. The game of iron, right? All right, right here, I like to use my Bulgarians as a finisher. And when I do my Bulgarians, I'll do it on a shorter platform for that back leg, right? So that way I can decrease how much that's actually working and just increase the fatigue on that front leg. Here I was rocking with the 35, so 70 pounds down the middle there, and I just basically drop set it as much as my legs could. My legs were shaking at this point. You know, I could barely lift the weight. It was hurting so damn bad. I was so fatigued. But here you can see I'm repping it out. I'm getting almost parallel. I'm getting just right about there, but I feel that contraction, I felt that stretch and that squeeze. That's all I was really looking for here. Fatigued as all hell. I still had a couple other things to do, like I said. That's why I'm saying sometimes I split up my training block. So get back on here then and just body weight, pump it out as a finisher, right? Drop set, switch legs, go at it again. Switch legs, pump that out again. And you can just see my quads are filling up with blood and nutrients. Okay. Freaking pumped up. Then I did it again as a finisher. Remember, I'm putting blood, I'm putting reps. So Bulgarian squats, split squats, even with the damn body weight, which is fatiguing me. Okay. Lining that up. Bop, 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 bop. God damn it. Shit hurts just watching it, guys. Makes me go back in my mind. And here we go. Just a little flex session. Need to learn to keep the midsection tight. But overall, I'm very happy with where I'm at right now. Still staying lean. I'm in kind of a maintenance phase, but I'm also still seeing if I can push some gains with relatively no surplus. See if we can get some gains out of there, okay? Just focusing on squeezing those legs during my posing session. I always do a posing session after I'm done working out. For a vegetarian bodybuilder, I got some muscle on my frame. Don't think that just because somebody is mostly vegetarian that they can't build muscle. That's fake. That's an illusion. I drink milk. I'm a lacto-vegetarian, mostly plant-based. I'm still getting in those gains, all right? Now, things I need to work on my arms, for sure, and my shoulders. They've always been a weak point for me. You can barely see my biceps peaks when I'm hitting the back double biceps. But I'm getting something. I'm getting something put together for you guys, okay? So follow me in this journey. We're gonna be really focusing on the legs, back, the arms, the shoulders, putting more overall size in the system, okay? My legs were pumped up, had some decent lighting, not the greatest, but I hope you guys like it.